Hi, my name's Dustin Atwood. I share usually my Monday mornings with you all. If you're first, if this is your first video you're finding, appreciate you hanging out with us. If you've been supporting the channel, I really appreciate it a ton. Um, it really means a lot. I feel like, and I want to talk about YouTube a little bit this morning. Um, Here's a shout out to one of our viewers and customers, friends of the channel. We'll put it that way. I thought I would showcase the struggle bus a little bit and actually talk about YouTube. I have, as many of you out there, I guarantee if you found me on YouTube or found A1 Custom Car Care on YouTube, you probably consume a lot of YouTube content. And there's a ton of amazing content out there. And then there's those videos that a little bit sketchy, maybe not what you would want to, follow their direction. And so for years, obviously YouTube's been growing. There's many other social medias out there with Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those good things going on. TikTok, I guess, is pretty controversial still. Um, there's a ton of information out there, and you have to consume, what you want, or consume the best parts of the content, and then you discard the rest of it that really either isn't applicable or maybe is not factual or going to help you along with whatever it is, whether it's entertainment or instructional or educational, whatever you got going on. So I thought I would share a little bit of time with you guys today and just give you kind of my thoughts on YouTube and really why I started posting and recording. We started getting fairly serious, I'd say, about 9 months ago. And we've watched the channel grow from, less than 10 subscribers. I think I was hovered around 50 subscribers for, 30, 60 days. And over the last several months, a ton of you have found the channel, and I really appreciate you guys. I can see that a lot of you are sharing the videos out, liking, commenting, sending stuff that I think is absolutely hilarious. And there are many times that I am the captain of the struggle bus, which is what this hat represents, and I love it. So thank you all for the support. But the real reason I kind of decided to get and start doing YouTube is I am extremely busy with a myriad of craziness, whether it's life with family, the kids, my little quote unquote homestead, if you will. I don't think I'd probably qualify as that, but I'm working towards that. I like raising our own food if we can to the best of our ability. There's several videos on the channel. You can find that. But my love, passion, and my career is the automotive field. You can see you're here in my office here at Sunset. And for my whole life, I've been doing interesting and crazy things, just A, because typically there's not somebody else that you can get to do it, and B, maybe I don't want to hire a person for that, this or the other. And so I started sharing that about 9 months ago at the recommendation of many people, but mainly my wife, because she watches and sees all the situations that I decide to get myself into, mainly because I don't have a really good ability to say no. And I don't know whether that's a blessing or a curse. I think maybe depends on the day. But I really feel like there's not much that I can't do. I may break it, I may make it worse, or I may make it better than it ever was before. But one way or the other, we're going to get through it. We're going to get it fixed, taken care of, whatever the case may be, handled. And we're going to learn along the way. And so I started deciding it takes a little more time to record the content. I'm learning the editing. I'm learning the audio part of it, even the public speaking part of it, to make entertaining and educational videos. There's many channels out there that I follow, and I joke about being YouTube certified or something like that. These are all legit ASE certifications, but the velocity of information at everybody's fingertips is definitely by far at its pinnacle as far as we understand history as it is right now. And I've really enjoyed kind of documenting some of the crazy things that I get myself into and really the challenges that come along with them. Whether we're rebuilding cars, we're doing livestock, we're doing trailer repair, we're, hustling dirt work, driveways, whatever it is. I like the variety, to be honest, and I really enjoy sharing, as well as I really enjoy your feedback. Um, we don't get a lot of snow here in Missouri, and for years I have been handling our snow removal. This is just one example of what I really have found to be very helpful, insightful on YouTube. And we're still obviously a very small channel. Like I said, we're 9 months into it. Right now, as of the 16th, we're probably around 660 subscribers, somewhere in there. Again, huge channels out there. But what I've noticed from their channels is they, more often than not, kind of open their social network up, if you will, and they learn a lot from the people consuming or the viewers of the content. So back to our snow situation. I think most people that get into pushing snow potentially maybe had somebody to teach them how to do it. And I heard my grandpa talk about pushing snow in the St. Louis area as a kid. I was like, man, that's cool. Sounds exciting. You're up all night, you're making a few extra bucks, you're providing a service. So when people get up the next morning, they can still have commerce, get to where they need to go. And so as I got into A1 Custom Car Care, we would contract that out for probably the first maybe 10 years I was here. And for many years, we had one person. Jim, if you're out there, you were an absolute awesome person, that when it snowed, we could count on him to make sure that we got our lots open for our customers so we could continue serving the community. Well, after Jim decided, hey, I'm not going to do that anymore, we thought, okay, well, we'll get somebody else. And it just became, for probably the next 4 or 5 years, to where every time it snowed, the person that we had gotten to do it last time wasn't doing it anymore, didn't have a truck, it was broken. For whatever reason, they couldn't get in and get our snow clear. So I'm scrambling as a store manager at that point in time, trying to figure out how I get the lots clean. And there were a lot of times I was out there with a shovel and the guys, and we're trying to shovel a whole parking lot. And that just, it doesn't work that well. That's not a good system. And my personality, when something doesn't work well, okay, we'll do it maybe this 1 or 2 times, or 3 or 4 or 10, whatever it is, and then we will come up with a better upgrade. And so that initial upgrade was my Honda Rubicon 500, Foreman Rubicon, with a snowplow on it. So I bought and installed all the stuff for, I think it's a 52 or a 60-inch plow. And it's worked really good. And I've done that for almost 10 years. So I learned quite a bit that way, but I wasn't on YouTube at this point in time. So I didn't really have anybody to ask, and I didn't know any better. So I didn't know what I couldn't do. So I just went out and did it and figured it out. Okay, this worked, that didn't work. Cool. And then probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we had a big snow and it was 5 degrees outside. I can still remember, even many years later, absolutely how miserable I was pushing that snow, and really how close to frostbite on especially this thumb, which is your throttle thumb, and my feet. Terribly. I vowed right then that I wouldn't do that anymore. And so I got on the hunt for a snowplow truck. And so I bought one that I kind of took on a little bit. It was a little bit of an emotional decision. I'm going to kind of rework that truck and get it operational, but really wasn't a viable option. I kept looking on auction, and I found, and you'll see many videos, and you can look back here in the channel. If I ever figure it out, I will try and put a thumbnail here at 9 minutes. And I bought it. It needed an engine, needed a bunch of other work. And so we did that, and we got it up and going, I think last year. And I think I used it once or twice last year, and then I used it quite a bit this year. You guys helped me in the comments section on the snowplow videos so much. I cannot express how unexpected that was, but how appreciative I am that you guys took the time to shoot in a comment and say, hey, this is my experience. This is my knowledge or understanding of the particular snowplow that's on this truck. It's a Western snowplow. Okay, if it doesn't work, this is one of the only models that you can jack or back into a snowbank, tighten the chain up, and still be able to drive yourself into the repair shop. You guys had amazing insight for me, and I never really expected that with the YouTube channel or doing the videos and then now the podcast. I've done radio for a lot of years, and that was great, but I didn't have near the interaction that I have with you here, as well as all of you that I see personally and talk to in one of our locations, in one of the 3 locations here in Missouri, and then we've got a couple of shops down in Northwest Arkansas. So lots of more work, I guess, than I thought it was going to be, than just, turning the camera on and giving it a go. But the upside of YouTube has been really fun so far. And like I said, we're still really new in this, but the first 9 months, we're clipping in on 700 subscribers. The feedback and education that I've got from you guys through the comments has been phenomenal, as well as kind of documenting the story and the journey, if you will. There's quite a few times where I'm putting maybe some diagnostic content out that I can go back and review it later to verify some of the data that I was looking for. So just a lot of upsides to putting yourself out there on YouTube. Kind of one that I didn't expect is I have a lot of family and friends that, unfortunately I don't get to see, whether they live far away or I'm just too doggone busy. Sorry, getting choked up here. That I just can't get away and maybe have the leisure time that I would like to have. And so it's been really cool to hear their feedback, and even some of the extended families it's kind of gone out, and friends as well, maybe people that I knew as a kid. I am from Missouri. I was born in Joplin here. But when I was in kindergarten, we moved up to Michigan City, Indiana, LaPorte, Indiana, Glean, Michigan, kind of the southern part of Michigan, northwestern part of Indiana. And I spent quite a bit of childhood time there. And so there's a lot of, friends that I haven't seen in 20 plus years, 25 years now, that, are being able to enjoy the content, or at least see what in the world happened to Dustin Atwood. And, that they probably expected me to turn into a mechanic, I would assume. But this is who I've always wanted to be. And I hope wherever you're at in life, you feel the same way. Whatever it is, it's not too late. If you want to do something, put in the time and effort, and I assure you it'll be worth it. Some of the most difficult things that I do every day, or the last 10, 15 years, it would be easy to take the easy path, but that yields very little. And so being able to document some of the crazy things that I get myself into. I'm very careful about the people that I surround myself with. I hope you do as well. And so it makes it really hard for me to tell those people no, because they're not just, everybody else out there. They're my people, if you will. And so when somebody calls, even though I already have that time booked most of the time, I'm already committed to this or that, I very seldom have the ability to tell them no. And there's times where it is extremely exhausting. But every time that I do it and I push through and I find a way to do this or that, not at the expense of somebody else. I've made that mistake earlier in my life where, I would do that at the expense of the people closest to me. And so I try and keep a better balance on that. Not necessarily, I don't subscribe to the work-life balance like a lot of the gurus out there talk. Oh, you should work 20 hours a week or 40 or 50 hours a week. Man, I would be bored out of my mind if I only worked 40 hours a week. And I spend 40 to 50 hours a week here willingly, to be honest. And I put the rest of the time, and a lot of that I share with you guys. Most of my videos here on the content would be essentially after hours, or weekends, nights, whatever it takes. And in the midst of that, I have to remember that for whatever I put in or give out to everybody else, I have to take care of the people closest to me. And it's not quantity, it's quality. And that was also a lesson that I had to figure out over the years. And I don't know that I'm wise enough to explain it. But it's not just hanging out and sitting in the living room and watching TV or watching YouTube on your phone or whatever it is. It's the intentful time. And 10 minutes of intentful time with the people closest to you is equivalent to hours of, unvaluable or low value time with them. And so keeping that in balance is something that I am still a student of and trying to figure out to this day. But awareness has helped me tremendously. So as you have your intentful time that is valuable and not just trash or, oh, you get what's left over, it opens doors and opportunities for you to be able to pull into other things, whether it's training, whether it's, out hustling up some new thing that's broken. And that is kind of a running joke around my house is we can't buy anything that works. We got to buy stuff that needs work, whether it's doesn't run, doesn't drive, leaks terribly, has to be towed. But I enjoy being that guy. That's just who I am. When somebody needs or runs into a lot of headway, and if you're in my circle, if there's any way possible, you're not going to get a no out of me. And I don't know that I've always been able to do that or do that very well. But when you do it well, it's really nice to have the confidence of so many people that when something's going sideways, whether it's automotive or something unrelated to automotive, you're the person that they call. Now, if you're that person out there, take that seriously. That's sometimes a thankless job, but it's a very rewarding job. And a lot of people think that it's easy being that problem-solving person, but 99% of people that we all run into every day, they're looking for the problem that will let them stop doing whatever it is. And I don't know why, but I have a hard time being that guy. I enjoy the problem, which is weird and masochistic to say. It's not that I enjoy having, something run roughshod over me. It's that I have been able to advance my career, my personal life, my professional life, which I know is my career, but you have your career, and then at some point you kind of continue to level up into more of a professional environment is what I mean by that. So where somebody may have had a longer road, I wanted the most difficult road possible, but I wanted the straightest line from point A to point B. And I'm not there yet, by the way. I really hope that I never actually get there. But I can remember the struggles that I had as a young technician, as a young dad, husband, whatever, role that was. They're different now than they were. And the things that were difficult then are not difficult now. They're not even a thing anymore. They're those softballs that throw up there. And if you're out there struggling with some of the stuff, it probably means you're in the right spot. And having the awareness of that is really a cool thing. And then tying that in here to YouTube and hearing some of my technicians, my friends, my family, be able to sit through some of this journey with me, because I am typically so all over the place. There isn't anybody that could sit and keep up. And it's not that, hey, I'm doing all these things, and I know I'm saying I a lot today. That's what gets me through the day. I am looking for the most difficult things most days, and that's where I want to be. It's turbulent. It's violent sometimes. It's if you don't have a long viewpoint for the goals, it will burn you out in a hurry. But it's allowed me to go through as a technician very quickly. It's allowed me to move into a management role and have other people choose to want to work with me. It's allowed me to open doors for others that wouldn't have been open otherwise, which in turn has opened doors for me. It's allowed me to sharpen skills that are much bigger than just fixing cars. We're in the automotive repair business. I'm in the automotive repair business, but I'm in the people business. And I would argue everybody out there is in the people business, unless you have some giant government contract. But I would almost bet money that if you got some government contract, you knew somebody that helped you along with that. So you're still in the people business. I would argue that the better you are at peopling, being a good conversationalist, being a good listener, the more successful and the more people are going to want to be a part of what you have going on, versus you being the lone wolf out there on an island. And it's great being resourceful enough to do a lot of things by yourself. That's a good skill set to have. The next level up from that is that you have people that want to be a part of what you have going on and want to help and push the boulder up the hill with or for you. There's many times that I would much rather take a butt chewing from a customer or somebody, in upper management on behalf of one of my people versus them get it. And the really cool thing is I have seen it to where it has moved that they want to be a part of that and they want to take the heat versus it going to somebody else, going to their technician, going to their other advisor. That's really some of the magic that cannot be bought. I don't care how big the paycheck is. You cannot pay for that, because there's always going to be somebody else out there that's going to pay them better and buy their loyalty. I've had many folks try and lure me away from A1 Custom Car Care. I fell for it one time. It's been over 20 years ago, but I had a gentleman that was subletting work to us, and I was able to solve his problem. Arguably, I missed it the first time, but I stuck to it the second time. I fixed it. I looked him right in the eye, told him that was my bad. I fixed it. There's no charge. Appreciate your business. Well, the next day or two, he showed up with a brand new F-350 decked out service truck. And anybody that knows me knows that I got a sweet spot for trailers and I got a sweet spot for service trucks. And he said, "Hey, I'm going to pay you this. This is your truck." I was like, wow, that could be mine. I could drive that home today. And I'm probably 19 or 20, maybe very, very young. Maybe 21 tops. And so I accepted the job. I put my notice in here at A1 Custom, and I fulfilled my notice. I didn't leave him hanging. And I started this new job with this new venture doing mobile diesel repair. Didn't know anything about diesels, and that's not why he hired me. He hired me because of what he saw, and this is his words, is that I was trainable and I didn't quit easy. And so I did that for 6-9 months. It was less than a year for sure. Again, this is 20 years ago now, so bear with me on the time frame. But I had made a promise to Lois, who owns the company. Lois and Kenny own the company now. Been wonderful to work for. I made a promise to her when I left that if it didn't work out, I would call her and at least let her know. Give her an opportunity. If she said, "I can't guarantee you a job here. I don't know there'll be an opening, but I expect you to call me." I said, "Okay, I'll do that." Well, about 6 months in, things weren't doing or going in the direction that I wanted. Arguably, I left a company that was very devoted to their employees, their company, and their customers, their clients. And I went to work for the exact opposite. This gentleman only won in life at the expense of others. And I don't feel like that's right. I feel like if you're good at what you do, you can win and the other party can win, whether it's an employee, customer, client, vendor. Even some of the vendors, I've sat here in this office, I've looked across the desk here and said, "Hey, I need you to be successful because I want to do business with you next year, the year after, 10 years. I'm depending on you not to mess things up because I need the services that you provide." It's not how this man worked. The biggest heavy truck parts vendor that was open 24 hours, and we did 24-hour service, used to be Springfield Brake here in Springfield. He got us banned from there. I couldn't go into the biggest place that I bought tools, parts, and equipment from and do business with them. So I was like, all right, I can see the writing on the wall. So I went and had 2 or 3 interviews, and I know I had 2 job offers open. And I can remember this. I was at a local plumbing company working outside in the rain, and I couldn't accept those jobs until I talked with Lois. And so I called her. She answered, thankfully. I said, hey, I've got a couple of options out here, but I told you I'd call you, and I'm not happy. I'm not staying where I'm at. I am going to accept another position, but I needed to fulfill my word to you. And if any of you out there know Lois out there, you're welcome to ask her about this and get her version of it. But this is how I remember. She said, hey, let me call you back. Give me 10 minutes or so. Within a few minutes, she called and said, hey, I got things worked out. We've got a position. We're going to kind of make a position for you. We're ready whenever you are. I said, I'd like to give 2 weeks because I think that's the right thing to do. And so I put in my notice. I tried to fulfill the 2 weeks. Didn't work out. Honestly, I think it's the only job I've never been able to fulfill my 2 weeks. Not that I've had a lot of jobs. But he was scorned, I guess, that I wasn't wanting to be a part of what he had going on, but he wasn't a leader. He did not have what it takes for the leadership skills that I was looking for, as well as my ability to continue my education of where I wanted to go in the industry. And so as I reflect back on that, and I don't know what caused me to share that with you today, it's really been my journey, and I guess that's what I view YouTube is as well, but it allows me to document it and share it with more people. There's a lot of people that see and call me or see me at a ball game, and they're like, hey, what have you been up to? And they're like, hey, we never see you. This allows me to share that with some people out there, as well as maybe help some people that I'll never meet in life. There's been so many classes that I've sat through, and I have done a tremendous amount of technical training, leadership training, management training, service advisor training, and I never want to stop learning. And so there's people out there that I needed to be in their sphere and learn from them at that point in my life. And then later, maybe I revisit it, or maybe I grow or continue growing, but I needed that stepping stone. And so hopefully somebody out there hears something that I've got to say, and it helps them through a tough spot in their life. Professional, personal. Maybe I help them fix a car too. God knows that these cars are getting so difficult. And I get it. I totally get it when I come to you, or one of my advisors come to you and say, hey, it's this much money to fix your car. It's not what it used to be 10 or 15 years ago. And that's the other thing with YouTube that I want to be a good ambassador for, is putting out what it is like to be at the top of your game and on the cutting edge of the automotive industry, because there are so many out there that are not. And you as a consumer are getting the brunt of that, or the fallout from that, that they didn't continue their education. They didn't invest in their people. They didn't invest in their equipment. Heck, they didn't invest in their buildings. They didn't try and become a better mentor or leader to attract, or at least be able to employ or get people of high caliber that want to be a part of your company. People talk all the time about how hard it is to get employees and yada, 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 and you're right. But your biggest stumbling block is you. And I'm looking right at myself right here. The biggest stumbling block that limits this is me. And I don't want to be the limiting factor. I want to be the one that is continuing to push just as hard as everybody else. And so YouTube allows me to put that out there and maybe help somebody. And I believe you reap what you sow, by the way. If you're putting bad stuff out in the world, well, congratulations. You're probably going to have a bad day. And I have some bad days. But the lion's share of them, I couldn't get a better day out of life. And I hope you're in that same boat. And so with YouTube, after I kind of wrap this up, I try and keep these in the neighborhood of 30 minutes. I'd love to hear your feedback on what you think about YouTube. Do you get any value out of, anything that I've ever put out there? And if you don't, I just had my head tech here. He gave me some good, loving, critical advice, and I appreciate it greatly, and I'm trying to use it. So definitely, if you like what you see here, subscribe, leave me a comment, bell icon, whatever. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me on Monday morning.